Big surprise. ESPN's S&P ranking has West Virginia doomed to fail in year one under Rich Rod. But like Lee Corso would say, I say, not so fast, my friend.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up? Welcome back in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul, and I am your host here. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, man. Well, we're going to talk some football again today. There's nothing else to do anyways, so quit griping about it and get in here as we bring up another reason why to hate ESPN, man. I'm not surprised. Obviously, I'm not going to say they're wrong in their ranking, but I have some talking points that I think could positively impact the West Virginia team this year. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Monarch Money. Become an adult, just like me. Grow up and be a real boy. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, guys, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team every single day here, and it's Friday, so why not bring this up as we get into the ESPN spring update for 2025 S&P ranking, and I'll share a screen with you guys as we go through. And for those of you listening on podcast, just listen as best as you can here. So going back up to the top, so this is the spring update of the 2025 college football S&P rankings, SP rankings for every football team. So obviously this was put out yesterday, I believe, which is fine. I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm a day late on it, not a dollar short though. I still have my own opinions, let's say, on this as I'm turning down this phone again. Okay, so basically it goes like this: returning production, recent recruiting, and recent history. Okay, fine. So if you look at the rank and you scroll down into the 50s, you find West Virginia at number 57 at a 1.0, 0.9% returning production on offense, a 28.9 on defense. I think it's a percentage. Maybe it's a rank. If you look at the the strength of, I'm not even sure what all these numbers mean, to be honest. Average win, it's not explained very well, but 5.2, it looks like. Strength of schedule ranked is 53rd, which is kind of surprising. I thought it would be a touch higher, but then again, it's not very high on the Big 12, right? So, obviously, if you look at the Big 12, 6.3 average wins overall, 31 on the offense, 28.4 on the defense, 61.8 average returning production. And contenders on the list, there are a couple, Kansas State being the biggest of those. If you look at post-spring returning production rankings here, West Virginia is going to be way down here at, I think it's 80th. Yeah, West Virginia at 80th at returning production, 52 on offense, 48 on defense, and returning period, you have at, let's see, number 80, 52%, 48 on offense, 56 on defense, which is about right. So, obviously, if this stays true to form, West Virginia is not going to be a very good team this year, and they're going to win about 5 games. Now, I think that's certainly possible. It's plausible, and in some ways, maybe even fair. But let me give you my perspective on this because, I try to zoom out from a 30,000-foot view and think, okay, well, what are some things that can happen here that would impact this? What could West Virginia do? And what would somebody like Bill Connolly not see, who was having to evaluate every single team? Because obviously the projections have West Virginia basically doomed for this season. First year failure is what it would be. And while Connolly's good at what he does, I'll say this. Yes, the algorithm may not be filling the Mountaineers, but it's a little misleading in my opinion. There is a few different factors to factor in here. Here's the first one. the staff that West Coach Rodriguez has put together here and his familiarity with the program, I think, are a little bit underrated. I think it's not talked about enough, the familiarity with the program. It's not necessarily your typical new hire. And I also don't think that you can judge this like previous coaching hires because only Scott Frost and Rich Rod know what it's like in this era that we're in now to be rehired. Maybe there's another one, but I don't think there is. So with the portal like it is, you don't have to try to build teams like they used to have to, like when Bill Snyder came back for a second time. It was the same exact thing that is the first time he was there, pretty much. So, I think Rich Rod and Scott Frost to a certain extent as well have different challenges, but also different advantages. And if you can get the right people behind these guys, like we know which Rich Rod had the boosters all behind him this year, you can do some pretty cool things. And he knows how to maximize talent. And West Virginia just is the perfect fit for Rich Rod. So I think that's not factored into this ranking at all. Our transfer portal haul is another thing. I'm very high on it. There's a lot of fans that are not high on it. But here's my thing. If you could have followed West Virginia back in 2006, would you have been high on Reed Williams when he came out? Because I promise you wouldn't have been. He was a very lowly rated player, not anything crazy, but not anything crazy either way. He's a guy you would have said, oh, he's a 3-star or 2-star or whatever he was. Like very, very rarely did we have a Pac-Man Jones come in. Scooter Berry, Johnny Dingle, those, Jock Sanders, Darius Raynaud. Like these are all guys that were Rich Rod's type guys, but maybe not the highest ranked guys in the country. And some of these guys may have been ranked higher than I'm realizing, trying to think back all those years. But overall, our teams were built with underrated, undervalued players that they saw would fit in their system. And from a character standpoint, they worked out. So a lot of times we beat a team like, let's go to the Georgia game, for instance. We beat Georgia, absolutely. We were the more talented team? Hell no. As a matter of fact, they were starting to come back on us, and we're lucky there wasn't another quarter in that game. Similarly, with the Oklahoma game, they were way more talented, but we were way better coached and much better. And I think that, think about this. The defensive coordinator is from those teams is still here, and we upgraded. And that's my second talking point is this staff is elite, truthfully. It is. Now, if we could have got the other Trickett to come from Jacksonville State, it would have just put it over the edge. But you go get a Bicknell who, for everybody I talk to, has a lot of good things to say about Bicknell, the offensive line coach for West Virginia. And he's obviously an NFL guy. But you go poach Zach Alley, which I bring this up all the time because it's not talked about enough. It was a big deal at the time, but it's almost like people have forgotten that we poached a sitting defensive coordinator from the SEC and paid $2 million to do it. That's what you see happening at the highest level. Texas does that. Oklahoma does that. It doesn't happen to them, by West Virginia especially. And the Zach Alley commitment, if you will, I think is possibly the single biggest impact of the offseason because from what I understand, I spoke to a couple people at Oklahoma. I spoke to a couple people at Louisiana. Was it Louisiana Monroe? One of the other stops he was at. No, it was Jacksonville State. Zach Alley's greatest superpower is helping other players digest his defense and explaining it in a way that makes it easy to do, right? And I think this is the thing that Jordan Leslie was always talking about doing, but never quite accomplished. Was he always talked about simplifying the defense. It's easy it's easy in theory, but very hard in practice, as a matter of fact, because especially when you've got 1-year transfers, everything's going to be moving very fast. You're having to learn something and play it at full speed, a lot of times against players who have maybe 2 years or more in a system. So you're at a disadvantage system-wise in a lot of these cases. I also think that doesn't get talked enough about is the exact positions that we picked up in the portal. I think West Virginia bolstered their biggest weaknesses from the past and from this current team. Last year, our defense struggled, right? Especially in the secondary. Now we've got corners like Michael Coach Jr., who was an all Mountain West first team guy at Nevada. What about Jordan Walker at Chattanooga? We turned on the tape and watched him a week ago. Mind blowing. Oh, there goes my. Sorry about that. I thought I turned the volume down on everything. It still comes up. It does this to me all the time. Like all the volume is down and it still makes these noises. What about a guy like Jalen Henderson, Max Brown, two-headed monster at quarterback that we brought in that can compete with Nico Marchiol? And Rich Rod said, you know what? After I saw these guys in the spring, I don't need another quarterback, and we could have went and got one. What about the running back spot where we brought in just so much talent between Jalen Knight and Ty Edwards, and then obviously my guy, can't forget about my guy Cannon Katzer. And then obviously, Sincere Bowers, if he's able to play, that changes everything. Everybody all the way up to Jaheim White is in trouble if Sincere Bowers gets a chance to play this year. Unfortunately, I don't think that'll happen. And for those of you who didn't get to watch the other day, we broke down Sincere Bowers. Before you judge me, just go watch the tape on him, and you'll change your mind. He is a home run hitter. He's everything you would want in a running back. Obviously, Jaheim White's the starter. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you're not performing Sincere Bowers, I think he would take everybody's job. All right, so our transfer portal class on Rivals is ranked 9th nationally. It's ranked in the 30s on 247. I don't know why there's such a big disparity. Some people say it's so because it's the quantity of players and not the quality of players. But I disagree with that. If you talk about, there's a lot of quality in this. It's not like they just went out and got a bunch of bums. I don't get it. Is it Texas Tech's class? No, it's not. Absolutely not. But is it what we needed? I think so. And I'm going to show you guys just a couple of those players here in just a few. I've actually chosen 3 players, by the way, in the next segment that I think are going to make an impact this year that you've heard very little about. I promise. 3 players you've heard very little about. You probably know who they are, but you absolutely probably don't expect them to start. And I think any one of them could, but I think all are going to make impacts. So here's the other talking point for this. Everybody talks about our schedule and it's tough. Yes, it is. But I think we can start out 3-0 in this schedule. And we basically have to for things to go like I want. But let's look at the schedule here as, that's definitely going to be one of the things that West Virginia has to figure out when it comes to this. But we'll go to break first. After the break, we'll look at this schedule and continue trying to figure out a way for West Virginia to win more than 5 games. This is Locked On West Virginia. Stick around. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? Well, between dining out, shopping, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money can come in for you. It's your personal chief financial officer that can give you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not just a budgeting app with Monarch Money. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one easy, convenient place. So you can stop managing your money, micromanaging it, and start building your wealth. There's some pretty surprising insights with this product. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. I tell you guys this a lot. Trace Hermanos is one of my favorite places to eat. Arby's, you guys know I love their mozzarella sticks. It was all too much. It cost $50 a pop. Can't do it. Now I budget smarter and I do save more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONCollege from monarchmoney.com, and you'll get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your very first year. It's segment 2, and we'll crack a do, but it's actually a Dr. P, but that's fine. If you haven't tried this strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper, it's very good. It's actually very, very tasty. All right, so Back into the schedule part of this really quick before we move on. I want to share the schedule with you guys. I'm sure you guys all know what it looks like by now, but obviously the first three games of the schedule are going to matter a lot, right? Robert Morris, Ohio, and Pitt. I think if you start out 3-0, then you give yourself a chance to, be bowl eligible and perhaps more. Last year they had 60 players on a Jacksonville State team and started out 0-3. Well, that can't happen this year, and it won't happen this year. Thank God to Robert Morris, and unless Robert Morris ends up being some kind of FCS contender, we don't know about it. Ohio University's won three double-digit. They've had three straight double-digit winning seasons, and consider them a Marshall. They're the same size school as Marshall. They have the same size players as Marshall. So this is not a gimme game, right? And I've seen Ohio University. They've been very, very good the last few years. As a matter of fact, could be a tougher game than Pitt, honest to God. If I don't know how much production they have coming back. I think they have a new coach. I'll have to look back into them. I'm going to have to bring a Ohio content creator on and look more into them before we get because I want to go over the schedule at some point this year. But obviously the big one is on September 13th, and you can throw the records out for that game, obviously. Then it starts to get a little tricky with Kansas and Utah. Well, if Kansas and Utah are, what they were last year or less, these could be wins. And you could possibly start out 5-0 here. I absolutely think they're winnable games. BYU just lost a starting quarterback, and probably he won't come back. They've got some nobodies back there now. Honest to God on that too. So could BYU now? They're going to be really tough to beat on the road on a Friday night. I think it is. So I'm not saying we're winning that game, but it's more winnable now than it ever was. And then you get UCF, who, how good are they? Are they better than us? We beat them last year, right? Or the year before? We've been beating these guys. So I really do think there's a small chance that West Virginia can start out 6-1 here. You beat Robert Morris, you beat Ohio, you beat Pitt. Let's say you drop one to BYU here, but you beat Kansas and Utah and UCF. And then you get TCU, who it could be just as good as you, right? I don't see it. I don't see this gauntlet of a schedule where we can, you're telling me we're only going to get 5 wins out of those first 8 games? Kiss my ass, man. I think we're going to be in this. I do. Up until Colorado, you can kiss my ass. Then we can talk. Colorado, Arizona State, Texas Tech, you could lose all 3 of those in the year. Absolutely. But up until then, unless UCF turns out to be a juggernaut or BYU BYU is going to be very good, possibly a 10-win team again. But do I think Utah and Kansas are just going to flip it around like that in a year? No, I don't. So, and I know Kansas is a lot better than they were. They still got their quarterback. I'm not counting them out either. But let's say you lose Kansas and BYU. That's fair, right? That means you beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly 6 or 7 teams. So I've said it all along. I think West Virginia is going to figure out a way to 7 wins, possibly 8 on this schedule, and then we'll see where they're at. And if you get an upset or 2 in there, then you're in the Big 12 championship game. I don't think it's as far-fetched as people think. Certainly, a lot of things have to go right. You got to get your quarterback situation right. Running back has to hit. Offensive line has to hit. Outside of that, I have very little worries, guys. I think our defense is going to be worlds better this year. It may not be right away, but I think it's going to be worlds better. We have to stay injury-free to an extent. That's every team. But so obviously to go far, you have to be lucky. It's just the truth these days. Arizona State was lucky last year. They had a lot of health and a lot of luck involved in some of their wins. You got to win close games. You got to stay healthy. You got to beat your rivals, obviously. You have to get an upset or 2. You have to win maybe one that you shouldn't win. You have to, your quarterback has to hit. Offensive line has to hit, right? There's 7 or 8 things, but that applies to almost every team in college football. some less than others. We're one of the teams that, with as many transfers as we have 2 games to tune up, really, but 3 if you count non-conference. I think by the end of that, Rich Rod has proven last year with Jacksonville State, and you can say it was a lesser conference, fine. But they started out 0-3 with more transfers than we had this year, by the way, and then won 8 in a row. So, the template is there, and Rich Rod said he's just got to figure out how to make this happen quicker, and I think he can. Let's go to break one more time, guys, and on the other side, here's what I think is, this is a fun segment for me personally. You guys know I love watching tape. 3 players that you may not know anything about. You may know a little bit about them. I've talked about them all, that I think West Virginia could make big impacts at West Virginia this coming year. We'll talk about them next. This is Locked On West Virginia. And I mean pretty big impacts. And we're back here on Locked On West Virginia. Guys, I've been telling you, I like some of these players. I've been talking about them. But what do they look like on tape, and are they really as good as I think they are? Well, I'm going to try to give you one of, I think it's one of each. Did I do one of each? Yeah, I did. Well, I tried to find a player on the roster, but it's really hard to find a player on the roster's tape unless you go back to high school. And like I was going to do Landing Livingston. I was going to do Nick Cray. Like I tried to find somebody on the roster. Then I looked on the D line. I was like, well, what about Nate Gabriel or somebody like I was trying to find somebody like that. It just wasn't, so I decided to pick one high school. I was going to do a JUCO guy. And then I was running out of time. So I've got 1 high school player, 2 transfer portal guys that aren't what you would consider the sexy names of the class. But I honest to God believe, I think one of these guys can start and maybe will start. And I've got tape that nobody has access to. Absolutely nobody. I'm the only one that has this. So we're going to watch that, and I'm excited about it. And then we're also going to check out a couple other guys. So let's get to it. The first name on the list is somebody that, as far as I know, I'm the only person that's beat the drum as hard as I have for this person. But I think this is the most underrated signing outside of maybe, Bomar or one of those guys at the high school level, are one of our most underrated signings. And this is Cameron Torber, who played at an amazing high school, obviously at Hoover, who most people know is one of the best and most famous high schools in the country due to that show they had. And so let's check out some of him. Obviously, we can't watch all 10 minutes of this, but Cameron Torber is an elite athlete at linebacker. And you're going to see here, he's got immense closing speed. He's 6'4". He's 235 pounds. And I have absolutely no idea why he wasn't recruited more. But of all the players that we have talked about this offseason, he has the most upside of almost any guy. So here's a sack and force fumble by him. And he can do it all. He can rush the passer, but his closing speed, which you'll see here in a second, may end up being some of the best on the team right away. And here it is. This is a segment on his closing speed. So here he is in the middle of the screen. Watch how quickly he closes in on this quarterback. It's eye-popping. It really is. Insane for a guy that's 6'3", 6'4". I can't remember which one it is. I think it's actually 6'4", 235. Look at the closing speed here. I mean, that's insane, right? I mean, he's shitting it and getting it, as we used to say back where I'm from. Here he is again. Great closing speed, great tackle, arrives angry. We love to see that. Here he is on a sack. Look at him. He's reading the play before it happens. Dominates the guard. I mean, look, he made that look way easier than it actually was. But look at the swim move here. Here he is. It's a one-on-one situation against the guard. Watch him use his length and pull that swim move off, which is basically a club and a swim. So you use their momentum so that you can squeeze over with your shoulder, right? But what I was taught was to use the ball of your fist or your hand and club them in the shoulder and then swim over, and that's what he's doing here. Club swim. Beautifully done. Here he is right there in right in the B gap, it looks like, and just another beautiful play. Here he is on the outside, just runs, makes a big play on the quarterback. Here he is here. And you see he just outruns the blocking. That's all that is. Insane, guys. Watch him outrun this running back here who's supposed to block him. Pretty crazy stuff, man. It's just he's got so much speed, and when he first gets to if the game can slow down for him, absolutely. I think that, look at that swim move, guys. It's gorgeous. It's an absolutely developed. This is a college level swim move. So how he sets it up to watch, he does it really fast, but he chops those feet. And this is number 66 again, who he gets with. This is the same player, same kid. He knows he's got him on this swim move. And look, what the swim move is good for as well is when you see an offensive lineman get head heavy, when they're leaning over like this, that's when the swim move is good. And look at number 66 here. Watch his head. Well, it went too fast for me. Sorry. I'll pause it in the right place this time. And snap. And so you can see, look at his head out over his feet. He uses that to his advantage. Left hand club, right hand swim. There's two ways you can do that as well. If an offensive line's keeping his hands on you, you can use the rip move as well, which is called club and then rip through underneath. They teach it both ways. Here he is shooting the A gap again, the middle. Guys, are you impressed? Like this kid, he can do it all. And then look, you can put his hand in the dirt. Well, actually, he wasn't in the dirt there. But, you look at him as a pass rusher. Like, I don't know. I think you can put him at bandit. You can put him on outside backer. He can do a lot. He can cover. He can run in space with very fast, quick players. He arrives angry when he gets there. And I think, truthfully, Cameron Torber, the crowning gem of our high school recruiting class that nobody talks about. So we'll see what he does this year. Maybe he's a year away, but I'll be honest, man. I really think this kid's got to pack to the field right away. And if our linebackers aren't performing, this kid, you might see number 5 on the field for West Virginia sooner than later. So great athlete and thankful to him and everything for being a Mountaineer, because I really think he's got a chance to be good, guys. Curious what y'all think down there. Yeah. I'm glad you guys are liking him. I have tried the Blue Dew, Mike. Thanks for asking. It's pretty good. It reminds me of the blueberry flavored Red Bull a little bit. All right, so I got a very special one for you next year, guys, and this is one that is near and dear to my heart. I interviewed this player. You guys watched, and I haven't shown this yet because he sent it to me. So we're gonna watch Aiden Busel's tape here, and this is at Tennessee. This is mostly practice clips, but this player is, you'll just see it on tape. I'm going to play the practice clips. He's 6'5", 320. He's got 3 years left. Maybe he's a year away, but what I see on tape, I'm going to say that Aiden Busel's got a great chance to start this year, and you'll see why. This is against Tennessee's starters in a lot of cases. He was a second string guy, right? So a lot of this is against Tennessee starters on defense. So take that for what you will, but Aiden Busel can really go, man. It's a little grainy, isn't it? I wasn't expecting that. Hopefully it clears up here. Here he is at the guard spot, and look at that snap. That's a beautiful pull move there. How he gets out in the open field from right here. Nice done. Nice, great contact. These are Power 4. This is all SEC, baby. So you love to see that. And, he is really stout. He's really good at run. But he's actually, I think by the numbers, a better pass blocker. I have to remember what it's either. I can't remember if it's pass or run. But here he is just dominating somebody in practice. Here he is again. Look at him driving this guy back. And I went and looked up some of these guys. A lot of them were really good players for Tennessee, like starters. I can't remember the names now that I've looked him up, but here he is right here. Look at this move. He's playing center right here, guys. I think. Is that center? Yeah, here he is playing center. So and on a double team block, very nicely done. So he's got a lot of skill, guys, a lot of power. He's had a year to develop, actually 2 years to develop in the Tennessee system. At the SEC level, playing against elite competition every day in, day out. And you have to think coming down to the Big 12. I mean, one thing about the SEC that I think most of us will admit is better than the Big 12 is defensive line, right? That's just fair. Like because they can afford and they develop the best players. They obviously get the best high school players. Aiden Busel at Tennessee has played against the very best defensive linemen that you can find in America, right? So look at him stand this guy up in practice. Great play here by Busel. So, I know a lot of people don't know a lot about him, and that's fine. And he doesn't have a lot of snaps under his belt, which is fair. But based on this tape here, man, I mean, he has got quickness. He's got agility. Look at him in the pass game here. Look at that block. Look at that. Like he picks up two guys here. Let's go back a little more. So he picks up two guys right here, number one, and then he comes over and this pass rusher may be getting ready to get off or pull a move off, and watch him over and just knock that dude right on his ass. Boom. Sit down, buddy. Nice job, Aiden Busel. He does it again right there. He's a smart player. If you guys haven't seen my interview with Aiden Busel, it's one to watch. I really enjoyed it. I actually became friends. We text every now and then now. Maybe it's just me that considers him a friend, but this is fine with me. But he made it. So him doing the interview, obviously that makes me watch him more, obviously from a biased perspective. But like just unbiasedly watching the tape, he's a good player. And I think he could come in this year and certainly fight for a first-team job. He will be no lower than second team, in my opinion, this year. Now, next year, I expect nothing but a starter from him. But this year, I mean, it's wide open to the offensive line. So he could be one of our guards this year, and I would be happy to see it. I mean, you see him moving guys at Tennessee. A lot of guys on our roster can't say that. So, I mean, he's almost as proven as anybody else. I mean, this is impressive tape, too. It's not like he's slow. He doesn't look lethargic. He's not getting beat in a lot of these. I mean, this is a lot of snaps that he's either winning or stalemating starting defensive linemen from Tennessee. Even if they're second string guys at Tennessee, they're still good players in a lot of cases. Here he is one-on-one again. Pretty good job. One-on-one, good job, over and over again. And just look at the nastiness here. Watch how he comes out of that stance ready to hand fight. Watch him come out of his stance and watch that nasty attitude. Some guys, you can just see it. Other guys, not as much. Watch the nasty attitude when he comes out of his stance here. Beautiful. And he's got that to him. And he's big, 6'5", 320. And he can move. Like I really do. I mean, there's a lot to like here. So rooting for Aiden Busel and absolutely think he can make an impact this year, a name that you maybe don't know about yet. So thank you to Aiden for sending this over. And, there is some good stuff on film here for me to watch. And I've watched it multiple times now, just trying to see what his game's all about. And he's great in pass pro. He's great in the run game, and I think he's in shape. You've seen him on my video. He's a big dude, almost all muscle at that. So, I mean, he's going to be another one, guys, to watch out for. We'll do one more really, really quick because I'm not going to leave him out, man. This is my guy as well. So, Cyrus Traugh is a West Virginia native, and I had to put one on the list, right? For those of you that don't know, he actually went viral. There is a YouTube content creator called Destroying, And if you don't know who he is, he gets millions and millions and millions of views. He's one of those guys that probably could have played uh, Division One, like FBS, like FCS ball, or maybe Group of Five. Like he's a really good athlete, and he'll go out and film himself like garden athletes, and he'll go to your local community, and everybody will come out and do one-on-one drills, kind of like what instead of basketball, it's football. Cyrus Traugh showed up for one of these whenever he was a junior in high school and absolutely went viral on that show. So I'm going to show you that too. And that's what this is. So I'll break down Cyrus Traugh for you guys. For those of you guys that haven't seen me talk about him yet, I'll give you my opinions. So, here he is, a junior in high school. And he has got some wiggle to him on the route tree. But I love he's got, he's got this. I can't remember what they call the when somebody's ginger, but they have like almost no facial hair, or like it's like blonde or whatever. But that's kind of what what he looks like. So, very, very cool. And absolutely. So as you can see here on a post route, absolutely dog walks the guy. So that's another one that I enjoy watching. But let's get to the tape on him really quick. We just got another couple minutes before I have to jump off here and do something. Oh crap! I've gone over. Okay, so we'll just do this really quick, guys. Let's go this one. I don't know which one's better. No, let's go this one here. I think this is the one. It's only a minute long. So, okay, here's Cyrus Traugh. In the slot, as you see, makes a nice move to get to the outside. Love that move. So, what Cyrus Traugh is, he's a route runner. He's a very good route runner, and he's got some speed to his game too. He played at the FCS level at Youngstown State. So, competition not always the greatest, but you can always judge individual players by their route tree. I'm a big believer in that. Yeah. So let's see a couple plays here from Cyrus before we jump off, because I think he's got a great chance to impact us this year. His route running skills are very, very good. There he navigated traffic and got open. Very nice. As you can see him right here, running through traffic, wide open. Here he is here. Very nice. Very nice. He set that route up a couple steps before he actually made the cut. I'll show you where. Watch this step right there. So you see, whenever he got on top of when he made the move to get on top of this corner's hip. So he makes the move to get on that corner's, if he's turned around this way, I guess it would be on his backside here, right? It looks like he's hitting towards his backside when he makes that real fast. And that's all that is a move to get the corner to think he's going deep, and then watch him break out. No, I'm breaking out, actually. That's a great route and one that'll work every day of the week, every day on Sunday. Here's another really good route. Nice little stop and go route coming towards the ball. Fourth down conversion. Oh, yeah, this is the one. Love this route by him. No, this isn't the one. Thought it was. There's a couple on here that, he really shakes dudes. That's the same one. Hold on, guys. You know what? I think it might be the first one on this one. So we'll just watch it. We're already over a little bit. That's a nice move. This is him in the bubble screen, and you're going to be getting a lot of these at West Virginia. Watch the move in the open field here. Boom. Nice cut. Yeah, we'll take that, right? And it's against Division I competition. Say what you will about FCS. He's got great hands. He's got great body control. He's not a speed demon, but he's not slow, right? And what I love about him the most is he's a competitor, and his routes are impeccable. Could be the best route runner on our team, maybe outside of Cam Bond, but Cam Bond does a lot of his stuff with speed. But look at that route. There's a route for you. How about 3 moves? 1, 2, 2 moves. Sorry. Nice job. He's a guy that, here he is way down the field. He's going to be a kid that's going to come in, I think, and surprise some people as well. Like I said, that's why he's on this list. It was really hard to pick between people. Look at that release. Holy crap, man. Look at this release, guys. You want to talk about a perfect release? Look how quick he gets off the line here. Boom, I'm off. I mean, this kid was beat before the ball was snapped. But he's got a couple routes here. Yep, here's one. Here's a route that I love from him. So look at this route here from Traugh. It's in zone coverage. So it's really about finding the soft spot in the zone. And he does a great job there doing it. Nicely done. And just subtle movements that he has. Here he is getting the table on Austin pass coming across. And he's got some speed to him. I mean, it's definitely not slow, but he's more shifty than anything. Here's another really good route. But, I mean, the thing is he tracks the ball well, but, like, here's another really good one. I don't see how this kid doesn't get on the field for us, honestly, and he was very productive there. What do you have, 600-700 yards last year, I think? So, in there, look at that catch. Very good catch in traffic. See it again. Behind him. So, a very good, that's a catch a lot of guys will drop or outrun. So, that's a great one. Another really good route, man. He just runs route after route and, so crisp and so precise. And I'm really proud of him. I'm so glad that he's made it to this level. And of all, like, he's one of my favorites, like, I'm really hoping he makes an impact, because anytime you can get a I say this probably not enough, but anytime you can get a West Virginia kid to produce, the better off we are. Number one, it shines a light on our state. Number two, they're less likely to leave because they're from West Virginia. Let's just be honest. And number three, our kids don't, we need people like Dante Stills that people can follow and say, I can do this. And so I'm hoping Cyrus Traugh can be that for a kid. Maybe you got to go the FCS route right out of high school. But in this era with the portal, you can round back 2 players. So looking forward to him as well. And hope you enjoyed the episode, guys. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team every single day. You could do me a big favor, guys. Check out the portal over here on YouTube as well. Man, Brian Smith has got the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings, and you can be the most informed fan on the rapid changes of the college football landscape. But you can find him on the portal, on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. All right, guys, I got to run. I got something to do here, but I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. This episode's over, and I'm out.